No, not the penguin outfit. No.
So, good evening, welcome along, welcome to a very special edition of Let's Talk Trek. This week, we are going to be doing a watch-along of a classic TOS episode, The City on the Edge of Forever, which I did remember, I didn't have to just look on that screen. Joining me tonight are the usual suspects plus one, so let's go around the table, starting on that side. Carl, say hello.
Hello!
And Carl's from the Trekkies Guide to the Galaxy. Next to me the other way is Richard.
Hey guys, how are we all doing tonight? Hey, Paul's already here. Hey Paul, how you doing?
Good evening, Paul.
Beneath me is fingers don't point. It's mirrored. It really confuses me. It's that way. James.
Hello, I'm James from the Riker's Beard.
And we've drafted in our resident TOS expert Neil in tonight, which is that way.
Hello, everybody. Pleased to be here.
Hey up, Neil. Oh, it's so. Why are we on this episode? What's made this happen?
We had too much to drink on Sunday, and we thought we'd do a watch along, but instead of doing one that James has a dodgy DVD of, we were going to watch an episode on Netflix so we could watch at the same speed. And then you said that you didn't like the original series, Dan. So we said, well, let's watch The City on the Edge of Forever and change your mind. I think that's what led us here.
It is. Now, we've got a bit of a problem here, which is we have relied on the fact that James is going to stream this. And as we know, James only has one bandwidth. So he doesn't have many other bandwidths. So he won't be able to stream and watch. So
Are we still doing the Kickstarter campaign to get James some better bandwidth?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to get him two bandwidths and everything. So occasionally you might see James.
What they're measured in? Is it two bandwidths?
No, you need to download some more bandwidth. That's what you need to do, James.
Is that like when you told me to download some more RAM for my computer?
Yes. Same thing. Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah. So if
And
you
then
see
when you
James's
sent me
camera,
to the shop for the tartan food colouring.
if you see James's camera turn into one of those images that occasionally you see the police saying, "Can you identify this person?" and it just looks like static. That's what happened. Okay. So before we jump into this, and as you're all here, I'd just like to ask a couple of questions. It's been a very exciting couple of days since Sunday. You have all seen, I imagine, the trailers that were released on First Contact Day.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about them. Picard season 2. Oh, what?
The trial never ends.
Oh, thoughts.
I thought they would play more fun, a bit of "Who's back, mon Capitan?" No, it seemed pretty straight. So from the tone of the trailer, I think this might actually be a more sinister Q than, because at the beginning, obviously, he was quite sinister, and then he evolved into more of a comedy sidekick. Let's be honest, especially in the Voyager ones. I think we're going to get Q, perhaps because the Q aren't linear, are they?
No.
So
They're
perhaps
omnipresent.
I think perhaps we're going to see a more serious Q. And yes, I'm terribly excited.
Neil, as our resident guest, what did you think?
I love the trailer. I think it's going to be divisive. I think there's going to be a lot of people say predictably, why go back to a character we've seen when we've got a whole universe to explore. Personally,
What, like Picard?
Exactly right, Skipper. I think it's a good thing. I think people want to see some of the characters that they've grown to love over the years. And I think you're right, Richard. If they do it as a more serious version of Q, I think we'll get to see something. I mean, Picard feels like a grown-up version of the Next Generation, more serious. I think we need to go that way with Q, and we'll be in for a treat. I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Absolutely. Carl, any thoughts?
I hope it's more than just a fleeting appearance by him. So far in Picard, any of the old crew that we've seen back have been sort of like a single episode or here and there. I hope it's more than just a fleeting appearance and they're not just using it as a carrot for us for season 2. I hope it's ingrained in the storyline for it. But also some of the other bits in the trailer. There was the Bajoran tablet as well, which was very leading.
Now,
yeah. Have you got a screenshot of that, Dan, actually?
We're going to come to more screenshots and we'll go into this. We'll have an in-depth on this on Sunday. Today's just a quick.
Okay.
James, anything that you saw very quickly?
Let's see. There was a trailer for Lower Decks. I've not had time to see that.
We're going to come on to that. Anything from the Picard one?
Oh, Picard. Well, it was just looking at all the Easter eggs around his lounge. So the Mintarkan tapestry over his chair, the portrait of the Enterprise D, the statue that his brother owned on the farm, obviously the tablet. I bet if we look more closely, there's a lot of other stuff there.
Very sad the flute wasn't there, weren't you, Dan?
Interestingly, out of the 5 biggest Star Trek fans that I know on the screen, myself included, I seem to be the only one who's realised something. A year ago, Sir Patrick Stewart on TV invited Whoopi Goldberg to be in season 2. I'm hoping we're going to see some more of that backstory between Guinan and Q. What actually was the dodgy hand for? I'm hoping that's going to come out. Everyone's so excited for Q, and no one seems to have clicked that Patrick has invited Whoopi to do season 2. So I'm hoping that's going to come out. That's my thought for this.
Guinan was never the most exciting character, was she?
Well, it's like when you tickle a kitten and it goes.
I'm just thrilled to see her hat again.
So Picard season 2 trailer, I'm personally going to give it a 10 out of 10 just for being awesome.
Oh, so going to do scores. Hang on.
Oh, not to be outdone. Oh, here we go. Everyone's fine.
Get a warning. Just, yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, we've got Guinan 10s. Woo!
Oh, hang on. 7.
Right, before we go into the next live trailers, we'll get into this episode. I promise we're going to get into this. Let's say hello to some people on the thing. So Paul is in, and he says hello. Nadim's in. Let's have a look. Paul's in his cinema room, not making us jealous at all, people. Evening to Megan and Ben today. Paul says that we got to watch Star Trek 5, which is the worst. Now we get to watch the best Star Trek.
Don't agree with that, Paul. I'm not having that.
Yeah,
Dan and I said it was in our top 3.
The lovely Anne-Marie's on. Oh, we love Anne-Marie. Right, so next up, there was a trailer for... Ooh, let me get this right. Was it Lower Decks was the next one? Or was it...
I think it was Disco Season 4. Was the
Disco Season 4, new coloured uniforms. That's the one.
Well, apparently they're saying on various places online that it's not new uniforms. It's merely that the grey ones we saw last season were the dress uniforms, because we only ever saw Starfleet personnel in Starfleet headquarters, so they had to have their dress uniforms on. And these are the
don't always wear
uniforms.
dress uniforms at HQ.
No, but that's the rumor online anyway.
None of the uniforms look like dresses, though.
Wow. We've got a Neil Carpenter fan in. Disco Season 4 trailer says Anne-Marie and the crowd went mild.
Anne-Marie, I know there's a reason you and I should be married. That was precisely my reaction.
Okay, so we'll go more into this on Sunday. We won't, because I appreciate time's rushing on. Season 4, I'm not going to ask you for an out of 10. This time we're going to do, with a facial expression, how excited are you for Season 4 of Discovery? That's the screenshot to get. Right, moving on. Next up, Lower Decks, Season 2. I'm excited for this. I like the comedy in Lower Decks. It's got Jonathan Frakes in it. What more do you want?
We get more Frakes in Season 2.
We get more Frakes, absolutely.
Well, don't forget Star Trek Riker that was announced at the beginning of the month. And some 50,000 people have now seen the promo for it, and everyone is very, very excited.
Megan says she hasn't seen that trailer yet. We did post it on Trekkie's Guide. You can find it. It's a couple of days ago. Right, so we'll quickly speed on. I was disappointed there was no trailer for Strange New World.
They haven't made it yet.
It started production about 4 weeks ago.
I want a trailer. You've had 4 weeks. Come on. And I'm really excited by the Nichelle Nichols documentary. I think that looks really good as well.
What is Neil can help us with this? What is Pike's catchphrase for engage or make it so, whatever?
He says hit it.
Yeah, I don't think he really had one.
Well, that's the Abrams version.
Yeah, or punch it in the Abrams version. I don't think he was barely in the original series, so he didn't really have one. He was in the pilot, and then he was in the recycled footage in the Menagerie two-parter.
Yeah.
So I think
So what's it gonna be?
that you've seen will be either from Disco season 2 or from the Abrams Kelvin verse.
Just a moment, Neil. So that wasn't him in the chair in the Menagerie. That was a different actor, was it?
It was a different actor. It was Sean Kenny, who had played helmsman to Paul, who had a similar facial structure. But Jeffrey Hunter's wife didn't want him to have anything to do with Star Trek after the pilot, so they had to draft in somebody who looked vaguely similar. And the way that they got him to agree to be in the chair for the Menagerie was that they gave him a slot at the helm for a couple of episodes without all the prosthetics.
Like we said,
Didn't
just
Jeffrey Hunter die around then?
no. We actually said before we came on air when we were having a little chat behind the scenes with Neil on. The IQ on this show has gone up by 50 points because Neil actually knows things about Star Trek, not just the ridiculousness of us commenting on it. So
We are now at 50. It's great. We've hit 50.
IQ equals 50. Right, so let's have a look. So what we're going to be watching tonight is City on the Edge of Forever, which is season 1, episode
28.
29.
29.
So 29. Get your Netflix
29?
loaded up, you cool cats
sorry,
and kittens.
Oh God,
Right
hold
one,
on.
James.
James has got a different episode to us.
No, I've got it queued up already.
Okay, so if everyone in the comments could just confirm they're ready, we'll ignore you and start when we want.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're all on Netflix, we're getting the remastered version.
Oh, yes.
And of course, we can have a discussion at the end as to what we think of the remastered version.
Oh, like a comparison.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. The controversy has started, and we're not even 1 second in.
Well, yes. Strictly speaking, yes.
Yep.
Oh, controversy already abounds. Right. So, we're all ready. Neil?
Well, actually, there's one thing we've forgotten.
Oh, God, go on.
What are we all drinking, boys?
Oh, sorry. So I've gone for a Sauvignon Cabernet tonight as opposed to my usual Shiraz, just because it was a screw top and I couldn't be asked to find a corkscrew.
Yes, I'm on a similar path to Richard this evening.
I've got a can of San Miguel, which I shall be drinking directly from the can, like a lamp.
You rebel.
So your butler got the night off. Jeez. That's like a savage. Good God.
I can pretend I'm watching association football.
Right.
I have Coca-Cola vanilla, but the zero version. So,
Oh, where did you find that, Dan? I love that stuff. I can never find
right.
I believe it was called 1998.
Right, I was about to say I turned into a shopping channel. This, Neil, is available at your local Home Bargains, where a case of 24 will put you back a whole £3.99. It's on offer at the moment.
Kidding. Right, I'm there.
That's almost as cheap as my wine.
A whole box of 24 will put you back £3.99. So, there you go. Happy days indeed. And it's lovely with vanilla vodka. So,
Be quiet, please.
Oh, Sir Richard has just had a dressing down.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
right.
She can't hear the rest of us. He's got headphones on.
That's a really good point.
But everyone who's watching suddenly went quiet then.
Yes. Oh, dear. Right, are we all ready then?
Right, Neil, you're our guest. You can count us in.
But instead of punch it or engage on the beard, we use whip it. So when you're ready, whip it. Yeah.
Do we?
Whip it. Okay. Let's just down from 3 then. 3, 2, 1. Whip it. And we're off.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh, no.
Straight into the
Already
action.
trouble.
Oof.
She's starting to shake. She's starting to shimmy.
Maybe if Scotty wasn't sitting on that button, it'd stop.
Do you think with this, to get them to all move at the same time, they've got like an orchestra conductor at the front going like this?
Yes, a
I
crowd
think it's
wrangler.
exactly the sort of thing they were doing. When you see if you've seen the corrected footage where they hold it still and they show you the actors putting themselves around and they keep the camera position locked down, it actually takes a bit of skill to try and time that and make it look even vaguely sensible.
Anne Marie, we were watching The City on the Edge of Forever.
Currently,
Bones, there's the casualty. Can't you see?
The guy on the floor. I love the face that Sulu pulls in a minute.
good God, look at the
Very
eyeshadow.
mascara.
Yes.
Careful with that, Bones.
So straight off the bat here, reason why I wouldn't rank this as the #1 original series episode, the entire premise is based on Bones being a complete and utter klutz. He's not professional. You've got a highly volatile drug in his hypo. They're over time ripples that are shaking the ship to buggery, and he thinks it's a good idea just to wander around with it in his hand. Again, it's a bit of a MacGuffin to get them to where they need to be, down onto the planet, and off into the 1930s. So, I do should sack him right now. Sack McCoy for being incompetent.
Of course, in the original draft of the script for this episode, it was Scotty was originally the one that supplied him with the drugs.
Everyone noticed Eddie Paskey there on the bridge at the engineering station? I think we've all met him, haven't we?
You can have his autograph for free at whatever convention you go to.
He's a charming man, absolutely lovely. Oh, I love those pajamas that they sometimes wore.
Yeah. How many people does it take to generate a security alert? Because when he said it then, about 3 different people jumped to their stations. Is it like fastest finger first on the button?
Can you hear somebody typing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said this before we went on air. Now, let me mute my mic, see if it's me.
Well, do you not know if you're typing?
Yes, it's Richard.
No, I could still hear it.
Just while we're in the credits, original series uniforms. Where do they rank in your list of top uniforms? I'd say that in my top 2.
I'd say top 1, obviously, being the original
Top
series.
1.
Nuts.
Oh, what about the Monster Maroon, Neil?
Oh, that's right up there as well, Skipper. That's still on my wish list.
Well, is it going to be number 1 or number 2?
It would still be number 2. The original series #1.
Okay.
I like the pajama look.
Monster Maroon, TNG Movie, DS9, Voyager, TOS, and Discovery.
No, you're wrong. It's
you're wrong.
TNG, TOS, Monster Maroon.
Well, it's a specific TNG costume. It's Marina Sirtis' season 1 costume.
Yeah.
It's the best uniform.
Did they shrink McCoy's costume to this to make him look a bit more buff?
Is that Chief Kyle, who, of course, reprises his role in The Wrath of Khan?
That is Chief Kyle. I think
The actor
by
John
the
Winston.
end of each season, yes, John Winston, the Bella uniforms that they used were dry cleaned so often that they all shrank massively. Some was just McCoy, which is why they went with the double knit 3rd season, and that's what a No Boss came out with originally, because it hasn't got the same limitations for washing that the original series did. Half the episodes, if you look at Kirk's tunic, it's
Well, look what it's. If you see what it's done to Uhura's skirt, I mean, it's. I think in several states of America, that skirt's not even legal.
Why don't they just beam him back up?
Yeah.
Rot.
The whole episode.
So, Neil, remastered Enterprise,
Yeah.
HD upscale, or original as broadcast Enterprise?
Isn't this the debate for after the episode?
Maybe.
Okay, well, we'll save it till then. I've
Oh, it's Carl.
always really liked the set, though. I've always really liked the set. I thought that compared to some of the more pared down versions, it actually looks like it's got a little bit of depth and substance to it. So I think they did a good job with this to make it look a little bit different.
A fascinating production note on this scene here are the ruins you can see around the city on the edge of forever, which weren't meant to be there. They were meant to be runes that were carved onto this. Honestly, that were carved onto it, but it was read wrong in the production notes, so they put a load of ruins around it. They're never meant to be there.
Donuts. Get your donuts here. It's kind of cooler than the Stargate, isn't it?
Ooh.
It can send you anywhere and any when.
Yeah.
So can the Stargate if you blast it through a sun.
Well, the
I don't
Stargate
need-
does have exceptions, yes.
So, what do people think to Discovery Season 3 retrofitting the Guardian into the Georgia storyline to get her back where
Lazy.
she needed to be for the Section 31 spin-off? Any thoughts on that one?
It didn't work for me personally.
I would have loved to have been invited to the cinema to watch that scene. You know, when the door explodes into the Guardian, because that was, I think, on a big screen that would have looked really. I mean, we could ask Paul Simon that because he's got a big screen. You know, I'm watching this on some little pokey screen over here. So
Is it him that's typing? Who is typing?
Well, I muted my mic and it was still happening. Someone's microphone is chattering, so
Damn. It's blatantly obvious from the look on his face. Oh, and he puts his hand up at just the right time. It's not a keyboard.
Could
it's
be
not
my microphone that I dunked in the cocktail on Sunday.
it's not you, James. It was happening before you came in on the stream.
Yeah.
So what Neil's asked the viewers, did they like the appearance of the Guardian in Discovery Season 3? So if you're watching, give us a comment. What do you think?
Your science knowledge is obviously primitive.
It always amazes me as well in the original series how much Earth knowledge Spock has. For somebody who wasn't born on the planet, somebody who's got a huge, great brain, he seems to know so much about Earth history. Again, he knows.
He is
everything about
half human,
13th
Neil.
Yeah.
Well, he is half human, Skipper, but he seems to be more focused, more obsessed with human history than he is anything to do with Vulcan. But again, I guess they needed him to.
Alan,
exposition.
Alan, we're just at the bit. How do you get the actual time? We're about 10 minutes.
About nine and a half
10
minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Question. Nadeem says it was a nice detour. From the
I think the way I would look at it is, it was a nice nod and a bit of respect to the original series. How it was relevant or poignant to the plot. It felt like it was shooed in for the sake of it to me, I'm afraid. It wasn't well written in.
Oh, that's a good question. Look at this one.
Well, more people there, including McCoy, are from Earth.
It's an Earth ship,
Of course,
isn't
the
it?
real answer is all of the clips the Guardian is showing were from old Paramount movies that they already had the rights to, so old historical costume dramas and epics, which is why they chose those clips to flash up on the screen.
So they had nothing from the Vulcan
Also-
era.
I've never understood why a group of highly trained officers have all got their backs to the dangerous man who's got paranoid delusions in front of a very dangerous time portal. You think one of them might have been facing McCoy rather than everybody looking at the telly, but there we go. Oh, now,
What
can
you're
I just-
saying
sorry,
is
can I
this is a
also
job
have
for
look
the
at this?
HSE.
Somebody has made a boo-boo to make the whole story getting them back to the 30s. But look at the state of Kirk's trousers now, having dived on the ground. The Guardian also acts as a dry cleaner because when he leaps through the portal, his trousers are absolutely spotless. You need one of those in this house. The kids' laundry,
Reminds me of the
like,
episode of Doctor Who where they
you know,
cook a turkey
clothes between-
in the TARDIS.
They do that. Is that a serious thing?
Yes.
I love that line. All that you knew is gone. Oh.
Now, what about the point that if everything he knows is gone, why are they still there?
And also, whose shower curtain is missing 2 hoops? Because because a Uhura's blatantly whipped them off of someone's shower curtain, and they might have a leakage now.
Is there not a predestination paradox that if McCoy changes the past, he won't arrive to go through the Guardian of Forever?
Oh, let's not go down that route.
Well, now you're talking about
Hang on.
a linear
If we're
timeline and then an offshoot, aren't you? That's
If we're going to
yeah.
talk about stuff like that, give me a minute.
Yeah, I'm going to get some more of this.
We're not reviewing the new Loki series. Good God.
So if we start here in 1955, and then we give Biff the almanac, creating the alternate 1985. If we've gone down this branch, we're going to have to go back to 1955 to undo that to get back to our 1985, right?
Wrong show, James. Next thing you'll be telling me a movie with 4 blokes and some ghosts in can be played with girls.
Well, look at the success that had.
We are not sexist. I'm just putting that out there, right?
You know, I think that might be a really good pub trivia question. We just saw a Union flag there flash up in the Guardian. That's probably the only episode of Star Trek where there's a Union flag that we see on the screen. They've only just spotted that. It's always nice to see the old girl flying on a popular show.
What's the episode? Is it the one with Captain Exeter? No, the captain of the Exeter, and the Yangs and the Combs.
Combs, the Amiga
Combs.
Dory.
Yes, doesn't Kirk hold up a Union flag in that?
No, I think it's Old Glory itself. I think it's the tattered Stars and Stripes in that one,
Ah,
with the Star Spangled Banner playing in the background. Not at all jingoistic or American centric. Now look at the state of these trousers. They are spotless and straight out of the dryer.
Well,
Oh.
so what you're saying
like
is, if we could find the Guardian, we could save dry cleaning.
there's a call for this episode as well in Deep Space Nine, isn't there? Where they show that poster when Kira and O'Brien are going back and forth looking for Sisko and Bashir.
Oh yes.
James.
Ah yes. Now that's more like it. Now, where are we starting on this diagram?
No, this is how you get to the Alpha Quadrant from the Delta Quadrant.
Well,
That's the map that Janeway drew.
I mean,
No, the map that Janeway drew went like this.
my map would be like this.
That's a terribly boring map, James. I'm
I
sorry.
fixed it. Richard, it's fixed.
Yes, that's more like it. That's the one. That's
Now,
a ser-
Neil,
there's
What
a
can you tell
series
us
in it.
about this 30s set? This is presumably a standing Paramount or Desulu Stages set that would have been used for other stuff. They would not have built it solely for this episode.
Now, this
Oh,
was
come on,
the
Neil.
Culver City 40 acres studio backlot that they had in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. So they filmed the Andy Griffith Show on this set, which, like you see, is full buildings, quite a big town square. When Kirk walks past with Edith Keeler later on, when they're having a chat, they walk past Floyd's Barbers, which was one of the key sites of the Andy Griffith Show. So this had been around for some time. They'd already filmed Miri here for the original series. It wasn't the only time that Star Trek. There's Return of the Archons as well was filmed on this backlot. So this was I think it was decommissioned and removed in the 70s. So not too long after Trek filmed its episodes here. But again, I think that's something that adds to the quality of this story, is that it's not just flimsy papier-mâché or partly constructed sets, but it's all. It feels like they've actually gone somewhere to film, which is.
Am I right in saying that this particular episode was over budget by some amount?
The explanation of Spock's ears here.
I know back in the day, obviously, these days episodes of Discovery and The Mandalorian are budgeted into the millions per episode. But at the time, this was one of the most expensive television episodes ever made for a series, and was over budget by about $60,000, which, if Carl can do the maths for us in pence, that's quite a considerable amount for the time.
The episodes themselves only budgeted a couple of $100,000. It really wasn't, stupid amounts of money. So yeah, it was significantly over.
So
but then, again, arguably one of the best episodes of Trek of any era. So it paid them to spend that little bit extra and do it properly.
Now, according to our friends at Memory Alpha, a normal TOS budget was $185,000, and Roddenberry spent $257,000 on this episode.
Wow! So
what's that inflation adjusted?
But it shows, though, in the quality, as Neil was saying, there's no flimsy sets, there's no polystyrene on the show here, is there? It's lovely.
And again, probably a good one to get people into the original series, because it's not typical in terms of the story, but it's also atypical in terms of the quality, because they certainly don't keep that up as they go through into season 2 and then the final
season 3. Yeah,
back in season 3.
Just the money they must have paid to hire that spider to spin those webs alone. Spider anglers aren't cheap.
But this is a classic Kirk and Spock living on their wits with no resources to back them up story, isn't it?
So what year was this produced?
It is, isn't it?
66.
68.
This was
season 1.
This was
Season
66.
one,
It'd be 66, 67, wouldn't it?
So that would have been, you'd have been what, 12 then, James?
So, according to the budget calculator, if this was produced today, it would be $4.6 million.
That goes to show just how much they put into doing this, because this episode is, I believe, and again, Neil will correct me if I'm wrong, this is the most rewritten episode. It was pitched several times, rewritten. They hired, I think, a total of 11 writers were involved in the episode in the end. Roddenberry obviously had the final say. But the idea was so good, they wanted to do such a good job of it, they just kept kind of going back to make sure it was perfect.
Well, that and the fact that Harlan Ellison, who wrote the original story, had drug dealing involved, had come up with a great story that didn't fit into the Star Trek model. So they had to keep rewriting it to get it to the point where it retained some of the original story, but it fitted in with the known universe, which we'd had almost a season of the original series by then. So it needed to fit the established character and the established traditions of Starfleet. Drug dealing is something that Roddenberry clearly didn't want to have on board the Enterprise. So famously, both versions, Harlan Ellison's original and the televised Roddenberry influenced televised version, both won awards for exactly the same story.
I believe it won the prestigious Hugo Award, didn't it?
It did indeed,
So,
yes,
yeah.
Hugo Award.
Didn't
I
they
think
produce
most of
the
budget overrun was just William Shatner's toupee bill for this episode. It's looking pretty good. It looks pretty rotary in some episodes. But
Genuinely,
they clearly-
I wonder how much how much they spent on Liz Taylor. I wonder how much that sent them back.
Didn't they also produce a comic book of the original script of Harlan's original script?
They did that recently. I've got it actually down in the there. It's a fantastic. Really, the artwork is beautiful, but it tells the original story, so it's a really good read to compare what they finished with his original vision.
Great value, £4. The original teleplay.
Where'd you get that from, James? The Works?
It was indeed The Works. One day I'll find time to read it. Look at that beautiful artwork in there. Look at that. Lovely.
It's a beautiful.
Hey, stop. Copying from one source, plagiarism. Copying from many, research.
Precisely so. Actually, I have done some research, and it's because this episode really is beloved to me for many reasons, not just because it's a fantastic episode, but when I meet new Trek people, this is normally your go-to episode that you talk about, that you say, oh yeah, we love that. You know, if you're going to talk, when you've not met anyone you know that likes Star Trek, you talk about this episode and everyone's got something positive to say about it.
Is this the bit where they sing My Little Buttercup?
My little buttercup has the sweetest smile.
Again, interestingly, the guy that's sitting there on Shatner's left doesn't ever get given a name, but I think he's unofficially called Rodent, which is a lovely name for the man sitting on his left. He is the secondary focal point in time that all three are drawn to, because obviously Edith Keeler is the primary focal point in time, but they also all cross paths with the guy there that's eating the bread, because McCoy bumps into him later on and he vaporizes himself with his phaser on Disintegrate. So it looks like two of them, Keeler and the other guy, were pulling them to that moment in time.
The shame of it
Starfleet
is-
Health and Safety is going to go nuts.
Yeah, I just wanted to draw attention to this in the comments here. They greased the camera lens with Vaseline when doing close-ups of Joan Collins, not Liz Taylor, to soften her look. Is this the first ever Snapchat filter? Is this what it was?
Can we just pay attention to the fact that Joan Collins said the word bum a few lines ago?
I don't think there was a
Stephen's
need.
absolutely right. They used to do this on the original series with all of the ladies. They would often smear Vaseline to soften the look of the ladies on the original series.
On the lens, right?
Yes.
Going back to the chap that Neil mentioned, that Sam Kirk's left there, isn't one of the reasons that he was focal in the original script was to demonstrate the difference between the fact that Edith Keeler was so pivotal in time, and yet that guy killing himself with McCoy's phaser made absolutely no difference, and it was supposed to sort of like highlight the difference as well.
John, I haven't heard that, but if that's correct, then that's a fantastic point. You think? Well, he was clearly just a street bum, as Skipper's just pointed out. But yeah, him disappearing clearly didn't do anything to the timeline, which.
Well, I think in the original, I think in the original screenplay that we were talking about, that particular character had a very big backstory.
I've just noticed this.
That just makes it a very sad event.
Look who the art is by, everybody. Friend of the show, J.K. Woodward.
Friend of the show, J.K. Woodward.
J.K.
Oh, bring it with you to next time we see him and get him to sign it.
So interesting.
I thought I recognised that.
So forgetting Kirk and Spock and everybody, who, if it was remade today, would be a good candidate to play
Jenna Coleman.
Keeler?
I think
Jenny Coleman.
Nadeem Bayek got it spot on there with Scarlett Johansson. I think that's a
good
wonderful shout. Yeah, very good shout. Or actually, Scarlett Johansson or Karen Gillan.
What rumour?
Is there any truth in the rumor that what we just saw in the back of the in their apartment there is James Dillon's internet connection?
That's it. That's his router in the back there.
Is that what one broadband looks like?
That's what you get when you don't hire a professional IT company.
That is James's broadband there in the corner.
Oh, why are you on it? Getting online.
This line by Spock is also James described as internet. You're asking me to use equipment which is just ahead of knives and stones.
What I love about this episode as well, gents, is that it's one of the episodes that proves that Shatner really can act. For this second half of the episode, when he's having to weigh everything up and he starts to understand what it is he's going to have to do to restore the timeline.
I was going to save it. I was going to save it for the poignant moments, but I wanted to point out how well he can do a scene without crying, which is something that current Star Trek. Yeah.
Look, Neil, I've got these special new switches for my internet. Recognise these?
Switches.
Original series rocker
Indeed,
switches.
they're on Kirk's chair.
And one day, they'll be on my chair.
I heard they're like rocker horse.
Did you see those two guys at the table there? That was actually James's IT department. Look.
Remind me again who my IT department is?
It's me. Yeah.
Ooh, looky, switches. They're a fake.
I mean, the interesting one, like he says, who would play Enid Killer now?
I think I'm going to go back on Scarlett Johansson. I'm going to say actually Karen Gillan. I think she's a wonderful actress, and she's got the bone structure and the face for it.
How about Joan Collins, just digitally de-aged?
So they could probably do that these days, Skipper. They can work wonders with that de-aging technology. I think for me, having watched four seasons of The Crown and enjoyed the first two the most, old Claire Foy would be a good shout. British, got the right sort of look and feel about her, possibly.
Ooh,
Not
Miles.
Not Catherine Tate, then. No, don't think she's got the class to pull that role off.
Rosamund Pike, she's delightful.
Matt Lucas.
Catherine Tate. Restore the timeline. I'm not bothered. That'd be so good. Somebody's got to do that. Somebody's got to put Catherine Tate in there doing that. That would be brilliant.
I mean, do we say it has to be somebody British? Is this what we're going with? Or?
I love this. I love the music in this episode as well, because it's not music that's played in all of the original series episodes, and you're getting that impending feeling of doom and what's going to happen. Even where Captain, even when he doesn't say it, it's there. She's piecing it all together. He's starting to realise what he's going to have to do.
Oh, there's Spock putting more fuel into James's internet there. Did you see?
Hang on.
Oh, James's stereo as well. We've got it all. There's Floyd's Barbershop from the Andy Griffith show.
Wonder how much do you think that this episode has had an influence on Star Trek? Because I mean, certainly there's episodes of Deep Space Nine that we know have drawn direct inspiration from this episode. But in terms of, for me, this feels very much like a standalone episode, not just for TOS, but for the rest of the Star Trek series as well. There's not been much like it. Do you think they've stayed away from trying to do the same thing because it was done so well, or because it's just very difficult to do and pull off?
I think probably the latter. I think if these days, if they can get away with recycling something, they'd probably do it in a heartbeat. I think it's just difficult.
I think you're right. I think so. If they did a poor job, they get hung out to dry. So they haven't tried.
I mean, Trek has done several episodes
Well,
where
hung out to dry is there's a picture of a shirt hanging on the line. That was just absolutely perfect. Hung out to dry, cut to the shot of the shirt hanging on the washing line. Fantastic.
Trek has done several episodes where things in the past have influenced the current day or the future. I'm instantly thinking of Tapestry. Where Picard goes and changes something in the past, and it changes the whole future thing, and then he realizes what has to happen to restore the future. So this was recycled in a way.
The theory, the plot theory was absolutely, of course it was, and there was a bit of the love element in it as well.
Which obviously brings us to Q and Picard season 2.
You'll notice I've got an extra bandwidth here.
Did you download one?
Yes, look, it's got flashy lights. It must be good.
Excellent.
Alan Window says you can't improve on perfection.
But you should never stop trying.
True. Don't forget, if you are watching us on Facebook tonight and you're enjoying the stream and the watch along video, please leave us a thumbs up, a heart emoji, or a care one, and we would appreciate that. Thank you.
Has anybody got their eye on the One Company's original series tricorder? Because we're getting a lot of nice close-up shots.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Several eyes, yeah.
I think there's probably about 10 eyes on this screen right now that are focusing on that.
There was
Go on,
that
Neil.
message only today.
Neil, how many are you going to buy?
I'm just going to buy the one to go with the phaser and the communicator that I've already got from them because they're works of art. And
To improve on
point
this,
of view, I'm sure they're only going to go up and back. But,
Did you hear what Neil said then?
Improve on that one, Skipper.
He also has not bought the other Wand Company collectible,
this one?
the Mood Rock.
The Mood Rock.
Oh, wow. You missed out there.
Oh, no, I haven't got that.
It is available. It's £60 on Amazon at the moment. It's plastic and it's on a shelf back there. I'll go get it.
No, don't bother, Dan. Really don't.
Don't get it on our behalf, mate. It's fine. He's taking his headphones off. He can't hear us.
Have you seen the Wand Company's special edition rubber duck?
Oh, but have you seen the cloaked rubber duck?
See, we've got Shatner.
Look, it lights up!
Wow, look at that.
Oh, bollocks!
Language, Timothy.
I think one of the things that makes this episode so great is Star Trek is, throughout all of its iterations, is so full of different moral stories and emotions that they can invoke. But this one's so sort of like out there with it's so emotive. It just puts it straight to you, and it'll easily connect with people. It's right there, which normally Star Trek's very hidden with. It's very behind the scenes, and you have to watch it in depth to pick up on them. And I think that's why it connects with so many people, because it does it so well and so easily.
I would like to very quickly jump in and apologise for my language. I was going to demonstrate the Mood Rock, and I turned off the lighting so you could see it better, to then realise that I've got it on the same plug as the lighting. So when I turned off the lighting, I turned off the Mood Rock. Yeah.
For technological klutzery, come to me.
I think, on a serious discussion note again, I think very much watching this episode, as Neil pointed out, nothing's on the Enterprise, nothing's on an alien planet, really. Most of the episode, there's not really any sci-fi to it, so that's kind of what bridged the gap back then. And also, can we all agree that Spock's lipstick was Strawberry Summer? I think that's the shade they used.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, don't cry over spilt milk.
If someone says, "I won't kill you," it's like when you're
Don't
buying a
run
used
away.
car.
We are your friends.
Well,
Oh, you're buying
If
a
Michael
used
Myers
car.
would have just come at you in that mask going, "Don't worry, I'm not going to kill you."
when we say technical clutchery, come to me. Please don't, because these are all of my professional qualifications that just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I am qualified. I just didn't realise that power turned lights off. So, Alan, we don't know what the typing noise is. We think it's Richard's Bluetooth speakers, headphones after being dunked in the hot tub.
It's not me. Look,
All right, let's play the game then.
Well, I'll turn mine off. See if it's me.
It's not you.
Nope. Maybe it's the Guardian.
Dan, I think it's you, mate. No, not you.
No, it's none of us. Oh, it could be James.
It's not me. Look.
I think we can agree it's probably James's fault.
Yeah. Well, I can agree to that, obviously, but
To be fair as well, watching this scene now, I think it's not just Shatner, one of Shatner's finest hours, it's probably one of DeForest Kelly's finest hours as well, because he gets loads to do. And rather than being quite reserved and quiet for the most part, he's running around like a loon in this episode.
and he hasn't at any point gone, jam, jam, jam.
I think he does well in this one.
Isn't it strange? He's poorly sick, and there's nobody springing up with a press conference and a quarantine. And
Do you know, I saw, I can't remember, I saw it the other day, but I saw a picture of the screen test for DeForest Kelly at Encounter at Farpoint. And rather than aging him with prosthetics, they basically just covered him in flour by the looks of it to make him look old. It looks a bit like this. But he was wearing a Monster Maroon with a TNG comm badge. It looked very cheap. Oh, careful.
Gone.
Oh, what a mistake I make.
that so looks like Ghostbusters.
I mean, it looks like James has got a third bandwidth on the go there now.
There's several rams there going on as well.
Obviously, this is a Wand Company phaser, but beautiful, absolutely beautiful replica.
That is nice.
Lovely, lovely weight to it. When it's powered up, the sounds and lights, brilliant. Detachable phaser 1.
I can't believe people take them to conventions and wear them with their uniforms. Now, I know they're a lovely thing, but don't. They're far too nice to take out in the house.
Beautiful magnetic base. Everything about this is perfection.
How do you charge it, James?
If you think when you damage it, you're going to be able to replace it, think again.
Yeah, it's in the prices of them.
Crikey.
This is the quintessential ray gun, though, isn't it? The TOS phaser.
Yeah.
Nothing approaches this for cool.
It's perfect. See, I agree with Stephen on that one. One quick flick of the dial there, and it went straight from being just a phaser to I'm going to disintegrate you in a second. That really need a fail-safe for a little gate or wicket sort of switch thing there to protect like they have on the shuttle and what have you. Far too dangerous.
Well, it's only got one control. It's got a dial.
Or maybe don't have the self-destruct as the first thing you click on. I don't know.
You know, after the original series, we never really saw a phaser type one again. I mean, in TNG, you had the cricket phaser, which appeared in only a handful of episodes. The whole point of this was that you could hide it quite discreetly. And the TNG one was more or less the same size, but they stopped using them, which is very surprising.
Probably because they didn't
Maybe
look
it's
cool.
one of those things that it was one of those things that again made a lot of sense in terms of the Trek universe, that they put that amount of thought into going on diplomatic missions, normal clothes, something that they can hide but still be properly defending themselves. He'd like to say Skipper is perfection in terms of science fiction weaponry. You can't beat it.
I carry that in my pocket all day. That's far bigger.
Oh, thank goodness it's your phone that you got out then, Skipper. I thought it was going to be something else for a second.
This isn't a video chat with Miles. Don't worry, you're fine.
It's there. That's the first time you see it in his face. You know that he can't. Yeah.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay. Cuts down trees. Da, 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 da.
Commands the ship by day. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, Kirk.
Oh, Spock hammered that home, didn't he? I think I'm in love with her, Jim. You got a killer.
Went all Vulcan on him there. It's like, get rid of the emotion. This has got to happen.
Come on, Jim. Just do what you did with your son. Abandon him.
Do you reckon the CSA was on his case? That's why he went off to the final frontier.
So again, it's that whole thing that Starfleet officers have got an almost eidetic memory when it comes to old Earth, because he got to within 5 or 10 years of the exact time period. It would be the same as us going in a room and saying, "Oh, I think this is 1740, 1745."
Yeah.
Oh, you're only 5 years out. They've got a fantastic knowledge of old Earth.
It's like
Earth as well.
it's like Tom Paris's knowledge of the 60s America, and it's like, oh god, rock and roll and all the rest of it. It's like, oh, okay. Go on, Kirk. Push her down the stairs. Oh, so close.
If he was looking at me like that, he'd freak me right out. It's like, what's going on, mate? What do you know that I don't know?
Who'd win, Neil, in the most handsome man of the 60s competition? And why is it Sir Roger Moore?
Skipper, that's one of the most bizarre questions I didn't expect to get asked today. I'll go with Roger Moore, Skipper.
Yeah. I mean, Shatner's a handsome chap. There's no denying it. But Roger Moore.
Linda said it would have been hilarious if
Let's not
Tom
forget
had...
Adam West in that whole thing as well.
Adam West is not in the same league.
Original Batman.
Linda says it would have been hilarious if Tom had made Balana watch TOS reruns on his 60s TV.
Yeah, would have been a nice little Easter egg in the background, wouldn't it?
That's a bit of a joke, isn't it? That he's got the funny antique TV in his quarters, yet he could have a 10-foot wide holographic screen. He doesn't need a monitor at all.
I just love the fact that they've got all these old TV programs from the 60s. So obviously at Space Dock, someone's gone, do you know what? This isn't going to need a database link back to our computer system. Let's upload some classic 60s TV because that's what a science vessel needs.
You know this double bandwidth thing?
Yeah.
I've got an echo coming from Netflix as though I'm watching the same episode twice, but half a second apart. So I must have two bandwidths going on.
I think probably double bandwidth going on there, mate.
Double bandwidth, yeah.
Wait till you get to internet bills, James.
It's also why you seem to watch episodes quicker than us.
It's because I get so much more internet than you.
More internet, yeah. Because of your two bandwidths.
Don't forget, I've got the internet in my office, that little black box with a red blinking light on it.
Oh, that
Is
reminds
that
me.
what he told you it was?
This is ready to deploy in your office tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, yes, my new telephone.
Yes, your new telephone. It's all set to go.
Have you seen
Set
this,
up.
Neil?
Yes, with a.
This is my
He's again
hotline
there,
to
isn't he?
IT. Pick that up, and it connects direct to IT.
Yes, you don't even have to dial. Just pick it up and it dials me straight away. Kind of
Display
like a
the
back
handset.
phone.
Display the handset.
There we are.
The last time Richard demonstrated this, somebody from the last time Richard demonstrated this, somebody from IT rang back very concerned.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Here's the pivotal moment now.
Oh no, look out. She's not in the Tufty Club, is she? You stopped me, Jim.
He knows, Doctor.
That's such a fantastic episode. That's still not my favourite original series. Do you think there was something foreshadowing in Ia's name? Keela.
Keela.
Again, I think the keel of a ship is like integral to its integrity and its strength, and I think there was something in that in terms of Keela being the name they picked for her, in terms of her being the focal point of time.
I think Stephen was meaning more like killer.
Or keeling over.
Oh yeah, Keela.
They obviously thought they were going to use the Guardian again for future episodes as a time travel device, which they never bothered to ever again.
Because they spent an entire year's budget on this one. Yeah.
Well, they did in the animated series. He was in one of the episodes of that, wasn't he?
It was yesteryear, I think, when they go back to Vulcan. I love the end of that as well. No stupid quips, no little bridge scene. Just let's get the hell out of here, which was risky in itself for the 60s.
Right, so there we go. End of episode.
Sydney Old Donut there.
Now-
That's one of their big free photo op set pieces they have at the Las Vegas convention, which is a lot of fun.
I mean,
Free to use, I understand.
The issue I have with that episode is mainly the way that we just watched it. Dan, is that the first time you've seen that episode?
Let me just take these headphones out and go to normal sound now, boys.
Normal sound.
No, normal sound. Oh, that's lovely.
Probably not a bad idea.
I've not watched TOS for a long time. I said before we came on the chat that when I sort of sit down in front of Netflix, or I'll put Star Trek on the background every day when I'm sort of doing something. It's always TNG or DS9 or Voyager. TOS is not my first go-to, and that's the first time I've watched that in years. Do you know, I actually enjoyed it. It was enjoyable.
For me, that's not a watch-along episode. If I've got to be honest, that's one you sit down and you watch without gassing all the
you
way
kind of
through.
lose yourself in it and go along with the emotion that's running high in it.
Well, sorry.
So go on then. Let's go through the things. Neil, first of all, what is your favourite TOS episode?
I think I'd probably go with Mirror Mirror because it introduces the parallel
Excellent
universe
choice.
a better way. It's all on the Enterprise, so you've got just so much to enjoy. For me, getting somebody that is into science fiction, into Star Trek, that would be a better choice than City on the Edge of Forever. If you're getting somebody who's not particularly into sci-fi, into Star Trek, then City on the Edge of Forever is a better choice because it is, as we've already discussed, a more accessible story and something that would appeal to a wider range of people. But I think Mirror Mirror has just everything going for it. It's just a brilliant episode. It's fun. There's fights in sick bay. Yeah, that would be my number one. City would be in the top 3, though, without a doubt, because it's just so well done.
Do anyone else have a favourite TOS episode?
Well, the City on the Edge of Forever is certainly my favourite, but it not. And again, this is something who's not just a fan of the series, but a fan of the community that we live in with Star Trek. It's because of what the episode represents. It's what you talk about with people when you meet them at conventions and things. We talk about series and stuff. So it's not necessarily, I think, the best episode that they've produced, but it's my most beloved.
Yeah, I think I'd go similar with that. I mean, if you watch any of my reviews that I've done for the YouTube channel, very much I focus on the meaning behind the episodes and what's going on. It's just my way of viewing them. And that particular episode's absolutely packed with emotion and meaning. And in the same sense, probably a controversial choice, some of my favourite few minutes of Trek ever are the Children of Mars short trek for the very same reasons. You get lost in it. There's no characters you know. It's not in a place we've ever visited before. It's not on a starship, but you get so involved in those 7.5 minutes, you just lose yourself.
It was such a teaser, wasn't it? It was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Trek's always been good at, making you lose yourself in the content.
Interesting. James?
What about Space Seed?
Yeah.
Where we meet Khan. And the Doomsday Machine, that's one of my favourites.
The Doomsday Machine. Oh, yes.
Doomsday Machine is a great episode.
What about you, Dan?
I was going to say Doomsday Machine. I just like when I'm going to get his rank wrong. Is he a Commodore or
Commodore Decker?
Well, yeah, it's the desperation of the man. You know, you can see everything's been taken from him, and how desperate he is to sort of fix this thing. And it's almost well, it is. It's it's a modern day take on Moby Dick to a degree. You know what I mean? So
the obsession.
Yeah, it's a nice sort of throwback to that. So.
Are you saying, Dan, that did he heap upon the whale's white hump the sum of all his rage?
Yes, and then that's the quote was later stolen.
That's classic literature for you there.
It is indeed. Why is it the crazy? Why is it? What's the line? Always have a fascination with the classics. It's a McCoy line from Star Trek 6, and I can't remember what the line is.
No.
Original Klingon.
Oh, I will have to
Devil
find
in the Dark. Which episode is Devil in the Dark? I don't recall it.
That's the one with the Horta.
Devil
in the mining colony.
Oh, yes, of course it is. Yes.
That's a really great choice again. That's typical Star Trek philosophy. Don't fear what you don't understand, and when you do understand something, it's often just looking at it from a different point of view. And that's a great choice from Linda, and also Stephen, I think, said Arena, the Braun episode. So again, I mean, goes to show a lot of people maybe deride the original series a little bit for being corny, but straight off the bat, there you got half a dozen episodes, which I think can hold their head up with any of the later series. Next Gen, Deep Space Nine.
The issue, the big issue that a lot of people have is it, and they always repeat, it looks kind of dated. now. And when we were watching The City on the Edge of Forever there,
It's
there's
50 years
no
old.
two ways about it. Yeah, there's no two ways about it. What dated it, watching it, and the production value was the music. The music sounded old-fashioned. But everything else, really, you can say it's kind of stood the test of times because they filmed it on a wonderful set. There's no polystyrene. The costumes were top notch. It was fantastic. There wasn't much that you can really say dated that episode other than just the soundtrack, and that was all. But some of the special effects, of course, in the original series, not the space ones, which they've redone now, but the ground effects and the scenery, you have to be involved in the story to ignore that.
Well, we were going to come back to this, Neil. The remastering of original series. Cultural vandalism or a wonderful enterprise?
Oh, Skipper, what a wayward word you have. I would go with the latter, personally, because they've done it in a way that is entirely respectful of the original creativity, the original intent of the people who designed it. So had they gone and tried to go full disco on the original series, it would have been a hideous abomination. The way in which they've just enhanced and improved something, I think, will bring more younger viewers to the series, which has only got to be a good thing. It's done in a way that
the right
it
answer.
still looks like Star Trek. It looks like better Star Trek. Better.
I don't understand why they couldn't have used CGI to put some tears on Kirk, especially in that episode, and made it more accessible to our modern day audiences by having him blubber and have some tears roll down his cheeks. I think that would have been a sensible option.
So at this point, I would like to now throw this out there. We've done a couple of these watch-alongs. They've been really good, and it's nice to have some special guests on, which, it's nice to have a different view from Neil rather than us all rabbiting on. And what we're going to do is we said we're going to do these watch-alongs every couple of weeks or so. So, as we've got 5 of us on now, and people in the comments as well, open forum for the next 2 minutes. What do you think we should put on the magical wheel of names? And I will spin the wheel live on this chat, and we will decide what our next watch along is. So each of us 5 can throw something in, and people in the chat can throw something in, and then we'll see what the wheel chooses. I'm going to go with Star Trek 6. So I've already chosen Star Trek 6. Carl, what would you like?
I'm going to go with TNG, the Drumhead.
Ooh, Drumhead, that's a good one.
Great choice.
Good.
Great choice.
Chard.
I'm going to go with the Voyager episode. I don't know the name of it. I think it's called Threshold, where they turn into salamanders.
Oh,
Thank God he didn't say Stub Rosa.
okay. I spelled it wrong, but yeah, I will do. James, what we got?
Someone say Coda 1.
Bear with me. I'm just looking through an episode guide. Oh, yes. I am going to go with Battlestar Galactica 1978, the episode 12 and 13, The Living Legend.
And what we're going to go for Star Trek?
James, Star Trek
Star Trek.
show.
Oh, come on. We watch Star Trek all the time. Let's watch something else.
Yep, let's talk Trek.
We are a Star Trek.
All right, then. Descent 1 and 2.
Ooh.
Neil, anything you'd like to throw in?
Just a moment. We said Star Trek, not Descent 1 and 2, which have been completely ignored by canon because they're shit. What's
I would go for DS9. I would go for, I think it's The Wire, the
Good
Guy
call.
and
what an
Bashir
episode.
episode.
Excellent choice.
Okay, and I've been sort of watching through the comments as people are going them in. Alan wants it to be Let That Be Your Last Battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Ben would like Trial and Tribulations. Debbie's asked for First Contact. Paul wants Time of Arrow Part 1 and 2.
First Contact, the episode or the film?
Time's Arrow has in common with tonight's episode that Riker assaults a police officer in the same way Spock did.
Mm.
Right, boys and girls, you've got 30 seconds to put some suggestions in before I close the thing. Nadeem, as I said, Nepenthe, which is the Picard episode.
Yeah, that's a good
With
episode.
Riker and Troy in it.
The Reckoning, another DS9 episode.
No one's gone for Move Along Home yet.
Such a shame as well. It's actually got so many classic Trek elements in it, but it's so badly put together.
No one's
And
picked the Discovery episode.
4, 3, 2, 1. That's it for choosing of episodes. No more. Right, let's share the
No
screen.
Discovery episodes? No one?
Let's do the Wheel of Names. Here we go, boys and girls.
Sounds like someone's been
Names of
typing down.
Discovery episodes are so complicated, you can never remember them.
So here they all are. It is the magical What We're Watching Next generator. Spin the wheel.
Oh.
Oh, that was nearly threshold.
The winner.
Alan Window, we are going to be watching Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, another TOS special. Neil seems quite happy with that choice. So, yeah, there we go. So that's what we'll be watching next.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that. We will ask people next time to throw some more options in. The wheel will get bigger and bigger, and eventually we'll get around to watching everything on the wheel. So I'll save the wheel as that, and then we'll get back to that. So yeah, let us be our next battlefield. And shall we say in a fortnight, gents? Give us a couple of weeks. That's what next Wednesday for me. So.
Okay, can we also steal the theme tune from BBC's The Wheel, as hosted by Danny Dyer? No, The Wheel is, who is it? The chap who sounds American. Michael McIntyre.
Ben Dobson has asked, where was Trials a wheel? I am just going to point this out. Trials is over here. It is opposite where it landed. I've removed the one. That's why it has his first contact. Okay. So yes. So we're going to say not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after 9 p.m. Let that be your last battlefield. Alan, if you want to be our special guest on it, you're more than welcome. If not, we will put for special guest privileges out there. Neil, thank you for being our guest this week. You are welcome back to go and discuss TOS at any point.
Thank you for your valuable knowledge and insight, Neil. It's been a pleasure.
And stop typing.
It's been a pleasure to be here, gents. I do love a bit of original series action, as you know.
Well, what we'll do now is we'll wave goodbye to the viewers, and then we'll have a quick chat afterwards. So, goodbye, viewers. We'll see you next in
Good
fortnight.
night.
Or Sunday night. Well, Sunday night we're going to be talking loads of trailers. Sunday night's a busy show. So what is
Sunday we'll be talking about all sorts of weird and wonderful things.
And we'll be playing blankety blank, blankety blank,
Boom, boom,
blankety blank, blankety blank.
boom, boom.
We will be playing Blankety Blank again on Sunday. So anyone who wants to play, make sure you're there and you get your name in early. Hopefully you'll get picked.
Did you see that comment? It just come in.
Neil, you should. That's because, like we said earlier, he raises our IQ.
He raised the bar. He actually talked about some Star Trek, which we very rarely do, which is
And he almost got us doing it as well. That was very,
Almost.
very fine.
very almost, yeah.
It's a bad influence making us talk
Very
Star
bad
Trek on a Star Trek show. Right. See you on Sunday, everyone. Bye bye.
Tatty bye.